Hello and welcome, I'm your Code Monkey, and here is a free, complete course on making a really nice multiplayer game. If you have lots of multiplayer game ideas but don't know where to start, then this course is for you. Here we are going to build a simple game, but also one that involves using lots of multiplayer tools. So by learning how to build this game, you will by the end have the knowledge required to be able to build just about any multiplayer game in any genre you can think of. We're going to use Unity's official multiplayer solution called Netcode for Game Objects. This is a very robust toolset, and once we understand how it works, it's actually surprisingly easy. This is a completely free course video, but it has the same level of quality as my paid courses or my Steam games. You can download the project files to follow along or inspect the final game. You can even play the final game right now directly from Steam. This course is a follow-up to my free single player course. In that one, we built this project completely from scratch. Every line of code was written on screen during that course. And now we're going to pick up from where we left off and implement multiplayer. Also, just like the single player course, one very important thing is how everything we're going to do here, it's all going to be focused on writing good, easy to understand, clean code. The code that we're going to write here is production quality code. This is not a throwaway demo. The quality of the code and the structure of the game that we're going to build is on the same level of quality as my own Steam games. As you can see from the video link, this is indeed one complete, very thorough course. So don't try to watch this whole thing in one sitting. Take your time, take it slow, and just focus on learning. There are chapters for every lecture in the video. Here's a quick overview of the entire course, all the steps that we're going to take to reach the final polished game. So first we will begin by taking a brief look at the starting game. This is what was made completely from scratch in the single player course. So here we're just going to do a quick overview as a refresher to see how all the code is set up. Then we're going to begin by installing Netcode for Game Objects. This is Unity's official multiplayer solution. We're going to install the package and do the basic setup with all of these settings and spawn a player object. After that, we're going to begin by synchronizing the player movement. And also at this point, we're going to talk about one extremely important thing in multiplayer games, which is server authoritative versus client authoritative. With the movement synced, we are then going to synchronize the animations. This one is pretty simple to do thanks to the built-in components. Next, we're going to synchronize our first proper gameplay logic. We're going to begin with the delivery manager. So we're going to synchronize how the recipes are spawned, make sure only the server spawns them and all the clients see the same list, and also synchronize delivering the recipes either correctly or incorrectly. After that is just a quick lecture to fix the selected counter visual. This is something that showcases one of the many differences between making single player games and multiplayer games. We need to think in different ways, especially because in multiplayer we no longer have just a single player object. Then we're going to synchronize picking up objects. This involves learning how to spawn objects on the network so that all of the players can see it. After learning how to spawn them, we're going to synchronize the kitchen object parent so that multiple players can hold objects and everything is correctly synchronized across the network. Then we're going to synchronize the plates counter, make it so that only the server spawns plates. Then for the trash counter, this one involves learning how to destroy network objects. After that is synchronizing the cutting counter, so this one will involve thinking about what parts we need to synchronize and what logic can be just local. Then for the stove counter, for this one instead of using RPCs, we're actually going to use a network variable. The server will keep track of the stove state and sync it to the clients. Next is synchronizing the logic for adding ingredients onto the plates. After that, for an optional design question, we're going to implement some player collisions. Then we're going to synchronize the complete game state, so waiting for all of the players to be ready before starting the game, and also synchronize the game timer and game over. Next, we're going to learn how to deal with pausing, so do we allow it or not? In this case, we are going to allow it, and all of the other players must wait until everyone is unpaused. Then for something very important, which is how do we handle disconnects? How do we clean up all the objects so the game doesn't crash when a player leaves in the middle? Related to that are late joins, so how do we handle a player that joined after the game has already started, or should we even allow that? Then comes a really important and relatively complex lecture. In this one, we're going to handle the complete connection scene flow. How we begin in the main menu in single player, then we have an online lobby. After that, we create the netcode connection and go into the character select scene. Then when all the players are ready, we then go into the main game scene. And after that, just play the game as normal. This is one of the most important lectures in this entire course. After that, with the connection flow working, we're going to build out a nice character select scene. This is one of the main things that I saw people ask about in my netcode video, so we're going to make a nice scene where the players can join and customize their character. Next, we're going to build the game lobby, so the player can create a lobby or join one. Then we're going to implement relay in order to allow our players to connect to one another easily without having to open ports. Next, we're going to talk about some more Unity multiplayer tools, dedicated servers with game server hosting, Matchmaker, and Vivox. After that, we're going to talk a bit about all of the tools at your disposal to test your multiplayer games. Then, just before the end, we're also going to add a really important option. We want the game to work in both multiplayer and single player. So we're going to make it so you can basically bypass all of the multiplayer connections and play in an offline single player mode. And with that, everything is done, so we're going to inspect the final game and have some fun. So as you can see, you will learn about a ton of topics by following this course. By the end, you will have the knowledge required to build just about any multiplayer game. Now, if you're new to the channel, then welcome, and here's a bit about me and my credentials, or why you should listen to what I have to teach. My name is Hugo, and I've been running this CodeMonkey YouTube channel for 5 years now. In total, almost 700 videos on all kinds of topics, including tons of tutorials, sharing my knowledge to help you on your own game dev journey. I'm also a professional indie game developer, making games for over 10 years with 8 successful games published on Steam, so what I'm teaching here is based on a lot of years of experience making a lot of games. Just like with my paid courses, I'm always in the comments answering your questions every single day, so if you get stuck on a particular point or need extra clarification on something, go ahead, post a comment and I'll do my best to help. Do make sure to include a timestamp of what you're referring to. I will also be updating the pinned comment with any frequently asked questions that I see, so actually right now, pause the video and scroll down a bit to look at that comment. Since on YouTube I cannot update a video after it's published, I will be updating that comment over the next months and years. And I also made a dedicated course on my website. In there you can download the complete project files for every single lecture, so if you get stuck at any point you can download the code for that lecture and compare with your own. There's also links to all of the reference videos for each lecture, and I won't be including the frequently asked questions. If you have a common question, then chances are I've already answered it in that page, so it's faster to just check that page rather than wait for me to reply to your comment. So definitely do keep that page open in a second tab as you follow along each lecture. Now both this free course and the single player one took a ton of work to make, so I really hope you find both these courses helpful. Go ahead and hit the like button if it helps you. It's a small thing, but it generally does help this video on the YouTube algorithm. Making these courses was a ton of work, and by making it completely free means that it will obviously never make as much money as if I had just made this a paid course. I'm perfectly okay with that decision, with the hopes that by making it free it will reach and help many more people. I'm also a big believer that education should be free, so if you can't afford one of my paid courses, like if you're just a kid or if you're going through a rough time, I still want you to have access to high quality education so you can achieve your game dev dreams. One easy way it can help me for free is simply by liking this video, subscribing to the channel and just watching this video. That will hopefully help push the video on the YouTube algorithm and help it reach many more people. Another free way to support what I do is I'm currently working on my next Steam game called Total War Liberation. You can wishlist the game on Steam. Wishlists matter a lot for Steam visibility, so just by doing that you'll be helping me. And just in case you can't afford it and you find both these free courses useful, you can also support what I do in a few other ways. I added this exact same course on my website as a regular paid course. Although I want to be very clear, there's absolutely no difference between this free video and the paid course. There's absolutely nothing behind any kind of paywall. All the lectures are free, all the project files are free, everything is free, you don't have to pay anything if you can't afford it or you just don't want to. The paid version is essentially a donation. The only difference is this free YouTube video has regular YouTube ads, whereas the paid version on the website doesn't have any ads. That's it. So the only reason why I made that paid version is just in case some of you can afford it and you want to support what I do, but again, only do that if you can afford it. If you can't, then that's perfectly fine. I hope you'll learn a ton from watching and following this free course. Beyond that, if you follow this course and you enjoy my teaching style, perhaps look into my other ones. If you like this video, then I think you will really like my turn-based strategy course. That is the perfect course to follow up on this one. It dives even deeper into some of the concepts used here, and it will help you make the jump from beginner to advanced. And since you're interested in Unity, then I think my Ultimate Unity Overview course would also be very useful to you. Each lecture in that course is focused on teaching one Unity tool or feature. There's already over 50 lectures, including plenty of small but very important things that just wouldn't work as a regular YouTube video. If you're interested in visual scripting, I have a course on making 3 unique games entirely with visual scripting and no code at all. Or if you prefer, you can learn how to make a nice Builder Defender game. So if you enjoy my teaching style in these free courses, then check out my paid ones. Then of course YouTube has channel memberships and super thanks, so you can use those if you want. I also have my Patreon if you prefer that. And in a lot of my videos I have affiliate links for the Unity Asset Store or Humble Bundle. If you ever pick up anything from those, I get a nice commission. And I also have some of my own assets on the Unity Asset Store. So if you enjoy these free courses and you want to support what I do, there's plenty of ways. But again, don't feel obligated. If you can't afford it or you just don't want to, then that's perfectly fine. I hope you'll learn a ton from watching and following this free course. Alright, so that's enough talk of that for now. Before we begin building the game, let's inspect the final game that we're going to build. So let's see that in the next lecture.